So, yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Dunkin. I'm a general surgeon at the Houston Methodist Hospital here, and it's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. So the group here asked me to focus just for about 10 minutes on intraoperative teaching. And so I'm going to go through a few steps in that part of this whole pre-brief intraoperative teaching debrief model. So we heard about setting learning objectives, right? We want to keep that as focused as possible. 1 or 2 learning objectives for this procedure, make them as specific and measurable, use that SMART acronym. And the kinds of things that we just walked through, those are the kind of general things that we often hear from our residents, right? And so you need to really hone them in. And I emphasize to my trainees, let's work on in the OR what we can only work on in the OR. We shouldn't be doing things like anatomy that I can get from a book or suturing and knot tying that can be done in the skills lab. We want to really maximize this experience for what we can only do here, tissue planes and dissection and managing bleeding and those kinds of things. And so they need to have that mindset when they come to the OR. Now, how many surgeons do we have in the audience? Great. So I don't know about you, I've been teaching for probably close to 30 years in some capacity in surgery, both through residency and practice. And I would still say that the thing that challenges me the most is how do I get a trainee through an operation and feel like I'm in control of that operation? Like the outcome of that procedure is going to be just as good if I did it myself. And I don't know if you feel the same way. So I'm going to give you the secret to maintaining control of your operation, but not just yet. So I forgot my prop.
Oh boy.
Ivan?
Yes.
I need you to volunteer for me.
I'll volunteer.
You're just voluntold. So come up here for me for a second, right here. And I have a water bottle here, obviously. And what I want you to do is toss this and catch it. Okay, just one rotation, catch it like that, and do that over and over for just a few repetitions. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Oh, okay. A couple more. Nice. Okay. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Now this time, I want you to do it just a little higher, and I want you to do it while you're reciting the alphabet.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Okay, good. Not bad, not bad. I want to do one rotation, that's good. Now, I want you to toss it up, one rotation each, catch it, while reciting the alphabet backwards.
Z, Y, X, W, B, U, T, S, R.
That's good. That's actually really good. That's actually really good. Thank you. Thanks, Ivan. So thanks for being a good sport, Ivan. So what did you observe there? What was happening as I was giving him more tasks to do? What are you, like a ringer in the crowd here, Demetrius? Yes, Ivan. More stressful, okay.
I'd add that his smile got bigger.
Yeah. Ah, we've got another ringer in the crowd. She mentioned the term dual task interference. Back there, what were you going to say? I'm sorry? He was fumbling, right? His performance was degrading on the tossing while he was trying to do another task at the same time. And so that is an example of dual task interference, right? This is dual task interference that we're familiar with, texting and driving at the same time. We don't want our kids doing this. We don't want me doing this. I was doing this recently. And so you can do both at the same time. You can't do both very well. And this can have bad consequences just like in the operating room. So when we're in the operating room, we actually want to minimize this kind of interference. And we can introduce this in all kinds of unintended ways. One unintended way is trying to teach at the same time that you're trying to operate. And that might sound a little bit counterintuitive to a lot of surgeons in the room. It was to me. But you don't want to try to teach at the same time that you're operating. And I'll give you some examples. So let's get back to the secret I told you I was going to tell you. It's a secret to maintaining control in the operation. This has made me feel more in control of my operations as I'm taking residents through procedures and trying to keep them independent. One word. Define the word stop. So as part of that briefing, we have a discussion about this. And I tell the resident or the trainee, during this operation, intermittently, you're going to hear me use the word stop. And the reason why I'm using that word is either one of two things. One is I want to make a teaching point, or two, I have some safety concerns about what you're doing. And so when I say stop, you don't stop and drop if we're doing laparoscopy, and you don't do 3 more steps and stop. You freeze literally in space. And then we're going to have a little discussion. After they stop, now we have to have some structured interaction. And we use this 6 steps for kind of having a shared discussion about what's going on. So I talked to you about the stop. We say that. Resident or trainee freezes. Then we have them identify what's going on. What's happening here? We're going to explain a bit about what I'm seeing. We're going to have some structured teaching. And then I'm going to elicit a check back. We're ready to go. Do you understand what it is I want you to do? Yes, you're going to do this, and that. Great, let's proceed safe. Now, I'll give you some examples in this, but I'll tell you the mistake that I make most commonly, and I think most people do in this process, is we skip identify, right? So, lap chole, right? Residents going into the liver, they're not in the right plane. And most of the time, we wouldn't even say stop, right? We go, yeah, go left, or get out of that plane there. You're in the wrong plane. But let's say you do say stop. Usually, if you do it, you don't want to say stop, go left here, do it in the wrong plane. You want to say stop, and then say, how's this going? Tell me what you're seeing. And give them a second to respond. Do you know what the average time between a surgeon asking a trainee question and when that surgeon starts giving them the answer? 1.2 seconds. So, Jim, how did the fuse exam go? That's great, super, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so give them time. You got to be, wait a little bit. But this is where they start to internalize, well, what's the issue here? What am I struggling on? And you're actually going to be surprised that most of the time they know exactly what the problem is. They just don't know how to get out of it. So they're going to say, I got more bleeding than we're used to seeing. I think I'm in the wrong plane on the liver, but I'm not quite sure where that plane is. Good. Now we're going to have a discussion about that, get them back in the right plane, and then we'll proceed if safe. So that's the 6 steps to doing this type of intervention. And so these are common inquiry questions. You did that stop. Now you're going to ask a few of these. What's going on? Can you explain your choice of what are you thinking? You want them to internalize what the issue is here so that it will stick. So now you're doing, you did your stop, you did your 6 steps, and you're proceeding to go again because you've heard back from them that they understand what you want to do and it's safe. And now we're going to do the hardest thing for most surgeons to do in the operating room as part of a teaching exercise. The hardest thing. Being comfortable in silence. I had to learn to shut up. I thought I was teaching and all I was doing was distracting, okay? And I've actually become quite impressed with if I just let things go for a little while, that they'll often do quite well. And this has allowed myself to allow them to have more independence. I still have that stop in my pocket. I can stop this anytime I want. I'm in control, but being comfortable in silence and letting them work through things. So this is not quizzing them about, who Liechtenstein was and what's the anatomy of this. This is letting them know, this is letting them work in that silence. And in fact, trainees have a certain amount of cognitive load that they can handle. That's what we were seeing here with tossing the bottle, right? As I increased Ivan's cognitive load, he started to degrade in his performance. And I will tell you, he did pretty damn well, but he's a novice bottle tosser, right? So when you're a novice, you don't have very much bandwidth to do something on top of that. And so we got to be respectful of that. That might even be down to the music in the room. Have you ever asked your trainee, is the music distracting for you? And if it is, turn it off. So we want to keep that noise down in the operating room. We want to minimize dual task interference. So that's my 10 minutes of intraoperative coaching, focusing on a couple of learning objectives, how you use stop to control this experience, comfortable in silence, the 6 steps, and then those open-ended questions and letting them work. Thank you.